Roar down the fast lane with Paul Bocuse. Gorge out on classic bistro fare. Then sail the River Saône into France's belly as Pierre teams up with the world's most famous chef. This time on Pierre Franey's Cooking in Europe.
Pierre Franey's Cooking in Europe is made possible by the Grand Marnier Foundation and Michel Roux Chairman. The Grand Marnier Foundation is proud to support public television.
He's the world's most famous chef, the creator of modern French cooking, and the consummate showman. Now into his 70s, Paul Bocuse continues to roar down the fast lane, and that's why even today, they still call him the leader of the pack. Paul François Pierre Bocuse was born in 1926 into a family of working chefs. His parents ran a modest country inn in the small village of Collonges au Mont d'Or. During World War II, young Paul fought in de Gaulle's Free French Army alongside American GIs. After the war, Bocuse catapulted the chef from backstage to center stage. Ever the showman, Le Grand Paul became a legend in and out of the restaurant. Pierre met up with Paul on the Saône for the short boat trip downriver to Lyon. They have long been close buddies, going all the way back to the 60s, when Pierre and Craig Claiborne wrote in the New York Times about the rising Bocuse legend. The two sporty septuagenarians had a lot of catching up to do as they boated into the city. Lyon has long simmered in Paris's shadow, in every way except one: eating. Lyon is France's belly. No other French city enjoys such an alluring array of restaurants, from the three-star gastronomic shrines to the famous Lyonnaise bouchons, literally hole-in-the-wall, home-style eateries. Even the hotel food soars to Epicurean heights here in Lyon, and nowhere more so than at the dramatic Relais and Chateau Villa Florentine. Overlooking the city rooftops, this 17th century convent has been transformed into a luxury hotel. Just the place for Pierre and his bride Betty to stay when making their pilgrimage to Restaurant Paul Bocuse. The landmark restaurant bursts with bright vaudeville colors. The name and image of Bocuse are found everywhere. There's Bocuse jam, Bocuse dishes, Bocuse tea, and Bocuse's complete line of liqueurs. Even the artwork screams Bocuse. Bocuse. Outdoors, the artwork continues. Paul took Pierre on a tour of the bright comic book murals outside his restaurant, recounting a who's who of gastronomy, spiced with some classic Bocuse humor. The walk continued past 2 centuries of cooking highlights until the two masters reached something a little more current and familiar. So much for history. Paul wanted to show his old buddy his new style with a recipe for rouget, a smaller version of red snapper, with a crispy potato crust. Recently, Paul developed recipes like this in order to drop 58 pounds from his once hefty frame.
It took him 4 years to do it, but slowly he's losing weight and he's very conscious of what he's doing. So now, what are you going to do for us?
Oui, alors voilà, là on va faire une recette très simple. On va faire un rouget,
Yes,
un rouget de la Méditerranée,
this is a small fish from the a rockfish from the Mediterranean called rouget.
en écailles de pommes de terre. C'est facile, aujourd'hui on trouve des filets de poisson un peu partout.
You could find those fillets already prepared, but if you could do it yourself, it's better.
Une pomme de terre que j'aime beaucoup, Idaho.
He's going to use there are very large potatoes. You love the Idaho potatoes.
Donc on a fait des,
Cut them very thin.
on a fait des rondelles de pommes de terre là. Ces rondelles de pommes de terre, on va les découper comme des petites pièces de monnaie.
He's going to cut it out, you see.
Hein? Alors avec
With the cutter, it's about a
Voilà.
3/4 of an inch wide round. He cuts it out, and he's going to use about 20, une vingtaine de fils de pommes de terre.
Voilà.
Voilà.
Une fois qu'elles ont été faites, on les met à saler avec du sel,
Just put salt,
un peu de beurre fondu,
un peu de beurre,
Et puis maintenant,
Voilà.
on va pouvoir monter notre rouget. Alors le rouget,
See the filet is going over the skin.
alors pour que
You're
les,
going to put
pour que
some more scale.
les écailles de pommes de terre tiennent, on y met un petit peu de dorue.
He's using his yolks with a little bit of water with a brush, just brush it over.
On va ranger les écailles de pommes de terre.
It's going to take time, but he's going to cover that.
On commence par la queue.
And
Et donc on range les pommes de terre.
it takes time and very slowly.
Voilà, c'est,
You know, it's a labor of love.
ça refait les écailles
Voilà.
du poisson.
And you do a new scale with the potatoes.
Voilà. Et les pommes de terre sont fines, elles ont été salées. Hein,
So
passées-
they blanch the potatoes, they blanch a little bit with a little bit of salt, and then they brush with butter. He's gonna put them in the refrigerator, so the butter is gonna congeal, it's gonna stick together. And then he's gonna cook it after. So it's really time consuming, like he
Ça
said,
prend
but it's fun. It
spatule,
looks
Roger.
very nice. It looks beautiful
Voilà,
after it's cooked.
voilà, donc le poisson est bientôt fini. Hein.
So you cook it, like I said again, only on one side, on the scale side.
Voilà,
Now Paul is gonna make the sauce.
voilà.
He's gonna make it pour 4, hein, pour
Oui,
4.
pour 4 personnes.
Four
Alors, le jus d'un demi-citron, hein.
Half a lemon.
Oui, bien pressé. Hein.
Yep, yeah, you press it. You remove the pits too and everything. Yeah, very nice. The juice of half a lemon.
Voilà. Là, on va rajouter les herbes, hein, c'est-à-dire la ciboulette.
So it's about a tablespoon of chive, chopped up chive,
La ciboulette,
and there's about a tablespoon of chervil leaves.
le cerfeuil, la tomate,
He's got about 2 tablespoons of diced skinless tomatoes.
hein.
And
La
seedless
tomate
too.
donne un peu aussi d'acidité. Bien sûr, on va poivrer.
A little bit of pepper, freshly ground. A little bit of salt is put as much as
Et
you
là,
want.
on va mettre l'huile d'olive, hein, une bonne huile d'olive.
So you're going to put 1, 2,
Voilà.
it's about 4 tablespoons
Voilà.
of olive oil.
Alors,
About,
vous voyez, c'est facile, hein, c'est
Very
simple.
simple. But you do it a little bit at a time to
Voilà.
put a,
Cuisine simple, mais bon produit.
voilà. It's very nice. Very simple, easy to do. And that's going to be a sauce for the fish after it's cooked. So
Voilà.
vas-y, Paul.
Alors là, dedans, on va mettre une petite goutte d'huile d'olive, pas beaucoup. Hein.
He's using very little, like
Voilà.
1 teaspoon of olive oil
On
per
va faire,
fillet.
on va faire
This is
chauffer.
a non-stick.
Hein, c'est une poêle avec,
Yeah,
avec le
non-stick.
téflon. Hein.
Yeah.
Et comme je vous ai dit tout à l'heure, on va cuire que du côté des pommes de terre, hein, c'est-à-dire
Yeah.
de ce côté-là. Hein.
He's going to
Alors voilà.
cook it only on one side, the potato side.
Et là, on laisse cuire. Et quand donc le filet a été salé, on va le ressaler peut-être un petit peu de ce côté. Hein.
Put more salt.
Voilà,
Salt and pepper. Oh, very good. Little bit, huh? As much as you want.
voilà. Petit coup de poivre, j'aime bien le poivre, moi. Voilà.
Yeah.
Et là maintenant,
Petit grain de
on va
pepper.
laisser cuire. Hein,
How
après-
long does it take? Combien de temps ça prend?
Oh, ça prend 5-6 minutes, ça
5,
dépend de l'épaisseur
oui.
du...
Oui,
Hein,
oui.
il faut que les pommes de terre soient bien dorées.
Il faut que ce soit doré. Ouais. And you could
Voilà.
see when they're
Oui, oui.
they brown on the side there.
Voilà. Tu vas monter
Oui.
doucement. Hein. Voilà.
And you baste it once in a while. Yeah, you baste it with a... Oh, this is really low calorie.
Elle est belle, hein, l'huile.
Yeah.
Ah, mais l'huile d'olive, hein, c'est formidable. Hein, c'est-
You know, I never cooked with olive oil before, you know, in the old days. But I'm learning about olive oil is very nice.
Voilà, c'est facile. Alors là, maintenant, on va le retourner hein, un petit peu.
I never see that in a steak.
Voilà.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
On le laisse cuire là très peu de temps.
Then and you turn it off.
Oui,
Tu l'arrêtes.
on l'arrête, là,
Ça
voilà.
cuit, ça mijote tout doucement.
Voilà.
You don't want to overcook it, hein?
Ouais, oui.
Non? C'est pas qu'il soit trop cuit quand même.
Ah non, pas trop cuit, pas trop cuit. Là, il est bon. Alors bien sûr, on va mettre la sauce, la sauce avec la tomate. Hein, c'est très joli. Hein.
Oh yes.
Alors, il faut la...
Could you serve tu peux servir des légumes avec ça à part?
Oui,
une
on
salade?
peut servir une salade. Nous, on aime bien souvent, on met avec ça un épinard en branche.
Ah, this
Oui.
spinach.
Oui, spinach.
It goes well with sauté spinach. You could saute them right in here. It's very simple and beautiful.
Voilà, Pierre, si tu veux goûter.
Right now, I'm going to taste it.
Testing,
And,
oui. Alors, Il doit être juste cuit rose à l'arête, comme on dit chez nous, hein, parce que le poisson est très très frais.
Oui, oui.
Voilà, alors donc la chair est très délicate, avec l'olive,
Very good, very delicate, that's nice.
c'est ça.
Not overcooked, c'est pas trop cuit, c'est très bien.
Non, voilà, il faut que les pommes de terre soient cuites. Hein.
This is crispy, the potatoes
Voilà.
are cooked.
Quand les pommes de terre sont cuites, c'est prêt.
Yes,
Et puis c'est un plat rafraîchissant.
very nice, very well done. Anybody could do that, it's so simple.
Sunshine marks the newest Bocuse venture, a bistro called Le Sud, the South. The hopping restaurant stands right off the Rhone River. Paul has turned his talents to heartwarming, less expensive, and profit-producing bistros. Ever the clever marketer, the great chef has stamped each of his outlets with a strong culinary theme. In this case, the sunny flavors of the Mediterranean. The traditional Provençal pizza is reinterpreted by Bocuse by adding a sexy layer of smoked salmon. The main course came from North Africa, a Moroccan stew called tagine. Pierre was surprised to learn that Paul ranks North African cooking as one of the world's greatest cuisines. The two masters could have lingered in the sun all afternoon, but as always, the lure of the kitchen drew them back to work. Bocuse's signature dish is a whole breast chicken cooked in a ceramic tureen and covered with a spectacular dome of puff pastry. To give the chicken an upscale, low-cal panache, Bocuse uses perfect $100 a pound black truffles.
Alors voilà, ça c'est une truffe du Périgord, truffe noire. Alors donc on va faire des lamelles, des lamelles de truffe.
They're about one-eighth of an inch slices.
Alors une sur la...
The regular truffles, the
Voilà.
French truffles from Périgord, beautiful. I could smell the flavor right from
oui.
here. Hein?
oui.
Très bien, oui, ça sent.
Oui. D'habitude, maintenant la saison des truffes fraîches est finie, mais d'habitude on fait ça avec des truffes fraîches.
This is those truffles, he preserved them themselves,
Oui.
but you usually use fresh truffles, but the season is over, it's around the fall, that's what they
Alors là, là, il faut bien dégager la peau.
So
bien,
you loosen up the skin,
bien
like this,
dégager la peau là.
the front,
Vous voyez, la volaille truffée est toujours une spécialité très, très lyonnaise. Alors on met une
on the leg, sur la cuisse,
sur la cuisse là,
one on the leg right here,
une là sur le thorax.
one on the breast,
Hein. C'est très important de truffer parce que ça parfume.
so you could put as much as you want, right? On peut maintenant, combien, deux de chaque côté?
Oui, deux de chaque
Sur la
côté.
poitrine,
Une,
two on
voilà.
each breast, and
C'est-à-dire-
one on the leg.
Voilà, là sur la poitrine. Donc c'était la volaille truffée comme ça, c'était toujours une recette de la mère Brasier,
Yeah,
hein,
this is a very old
la fameuse
recipe.
mère
with
lyonnaise.
Madame Brasier is a very,
Alors voilà, la volaille,
the
donc, vous
restaurant
voyez,
here.
elle est bien truffée.
Very
hein.
nice,
Vous voyez,
beautiful.
c'est beau, hein, c'est-à-dire c'est truffé sous la peau.
Yeah.
Alors pour lui donner un peu de goût, on va mettre la salée
Ici.
avec un peu de sel
Yeah.
de Guérande à l'intérieur. Hein,
little bit of salt, that's
Oui.
sea salt.
pour pas que le bouquet garni, je le mets à l'intérieur.
The bouquet garni, which has some sprig of parsley,
C'est
two
une
sprig
recette très simple. Hein,
of
très, très,
thyme,
très
and
simple,
one
hein.
bay leaf, one small bay leaf.
Voilà, alors après donc nous avons notre soupière, ce qu'on appelle la soupière à lyonnaise. C'est une soupière qui tient 3 litres. Donc on met la volaille à l'intérieur.
This is typical terrine from the area here. Usually they make onion soup in a smaller one.
Voilà. Alors donc on a mis les légumes. Les légumes, donc 4 petits oignons nouveaux.
I put the onions,
Oignons.
4 onions,
Après on avait mis les navets,
turnips, 4 of them,
céleri,
celery knob celery, but you could use celery and branch too, you know, it doesn't make any difference. The carrots, the leeks,
carottes, petits pois,
peas, and
Sel.
string beans. There's no liquid here, and because all those vegetables, they're fresh, and the chicken is very, very fresh, was killed a few
Roger,
days
tu vas me
ago,
passer
it
le
was not
feuilletage.
frozen, and it's going to be only the liquid from the
Alors,
chicken
voilà un rond de feuilletage.
and
Hein.
the vegetables.
Donc à peu près l'épaisseur,
It's about a quarter of an inch.
oui,
Yeah.
voilà. Alors
This is
donc,
puff
on
pastry.
pose le rond de feuilletage comme ça.
It's
Ça,
about 10 inches.
voilà.
wide,
Et là,
12 inches.
on va le laisser prendre avec un peu la chaleur de la... Il va se prendre bien fermé. C'est ce qui va faire.
Close it very tight.
C'est ce qui
That's
va
very
faire le
important.
secret de la recette, c'est-à-dire que ça va faire une cuisine à l'étouffée.
You close it with the paste,
puis, alors, bien sûr,
pork paste, and he's going to brush it with a little bit of yolks,
une dorure avec un œuf, hein, et un petit peu d'eau, bien dorée.
a
Hein,
little bit of water with yolks of eggs,
Ouais.
brush it.
ça, c'est pour que le feuilletage soit bien doré.
So, like again, the puff paste has to be a quarter of an inch thick. But you have to press it around it. You got really to seal it. You could prepare it at a time, and an hour before eating, just stick it in the oven. Okay, Paul?
Bon, on va mettre à
you
cuire.
ready?
Hein.
With the
Donc,
oven?
on va mettre cette volaille à cuire. Alors
right.
voilà.
Toujours.
Bah oui,
Ah, voilà.
voilà.
For 1 hour, hein?
Voilà, on met
Voilà.
à cuire.
Alors c'est prêt, Paul? It's
Eh
ready?
bien, oui, 1h15, c'est prêt. Ouah.
Oh là là, my God. It's good, huh? Beautiful.
C'est très chaud, hein.
Well, it's...
Alors voilà, donc tout le parfum est à l'intérieur.
Paul began the ceremony of removing the chapeau, a task normally performed by waiters out in the dining room. And out in the dining room, it was already showtime. Even in this day of expense account cutbacks and shorter, lighter meals, the French still loved to celebrate with a multi-course, multi-hour feast. Pierre and Paul sat down to their truffle-laden bird, served in the theatrical French style. Bocuse invented this recipe back in the 70s, when he was the first chef to be honored at the presidential Élysée Palace. The luxury chicken still shows off Paul's talents at their best, his touch for taking home-style cooking and elevating it to an unforgettable dining experience. In recent years, as Paul has edged past normal retirement age, some critics have said that the restaurant has suffered from his globetrotting. But after a meal like this, Pierre was happy to see that the Grand Master has maintained the highest of standards. After 3 hours at the table, Pierre headed to Lyon's other great hotel, the Cour des Loges. The stunning central atrium, occasionally transformed into a spectacular concert hall, was created by joining together 4 medieval homes. As Pierre relaxed to the classical music, the long day caught up with him. In the evening, Lyon's restaurants come alive, and a refreshed Pierre headed out for a night on the town with Paul. Their destination was another of Bocuse's new restaurants, Bistrot du Nord. Here, the authentic turn-of-the-century brasserie of northern France has been recreated with gusto and style, starting with the elaborate shellfish bar. But apart from the shellfish, there was nothing low-calorie about the food. For years, Le Grand Paul stuffed himself with Lyonnaise specialties from morning to late evening. No longer. But tonight, the two buddies knew this was a special occasion, not soon to be repeated. At dessert time, Paul drifted into a classic floating island, while Pierre let loose with a baba au rum, a rich sponge cake laden with rum and accompanied by a generous dollop of whipped cream spiked with Grand Marnier. After the evening's dietary transgressions, Pierre was ready to return to God's good graces. The next morning, he asked Paul to join him in the kitchen to make a low-calorie recipe, a banana and yogurt sorbet. The world's greatest chef was more than happy to pitch in.
He's peeling some banana. All that we need is 3 bananas, which you remove the skin, and I'm going to slice them very thin, like this. And we're going to put that in the freezer for about 1 hour. Okay? For 1 hour. And then after, we are going to puree them and a food processor. Now we're going to make the strawberry sauce. We got beautiful strawberry here to come from the south of France, near Cavaillon, the south of Avignon. So voilà, Paul, we're going to put them in there. And the food processor here called Oscar. And we're going to purée, on va aller faire une purée avec ça pour commencer. Tu tournes ça, on fait la purée, we're making the puree. It's a very good gadget. It's a combination, it's called Oscar. It's a combination of
Le sucre.
food blender and the sugar. We're going to put half a cup of sugar.
Grand Marnier, non?
De Grand Marnier, yes, of course.
Ah,
De
oui.
Grand Marnier, c'est normal. Que tu le mets, toi, hein?
Bon.
2 cuillères de Grand Marnier. Et this could be made with fresh raspberry too. Fresh raspberry, if you do it with fresh raspberry, tu le tournes et on le fait mélanger, on les mélange bien. If you use fresh raspberry, you have to strain them. That's very important that you strain them because you got spits in it. So let's see.
Elle est très
It's
jolie.
nice and smooth.
Ah oui, très jolie.
Beautiful. Maintenant, on va les mettre là-dedans. On va mettre ça là. Et très bien. Voilà. Et après ça, on garde ça, on nettoie. We don't clean this.
Okay.
Because what I want to do,
Maintenant, les bananes
I want to
congelées.
put the banana in here.
Voilà.
Okay, Paul, you could put that in there. They're frozen. We slice them very thin, you know, about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. And then you put it in the freezer for about 1 hour. And there's 3 bananas. They're not overripe. That's very important, not to be overripe. So you pulse them. Okay, on va voir maintenant comment c'est. We're going to see what it is. It's kind of smooth already. Huh?
Ça donne
Then you add the yogurt.
le yaourt.
The yogurt, plain.
Ça donne une jolie couleur rosée.
Plain yogurt. If you want, you could use other yogurt. You know, today the yogurts, they come in different flavor. You got strawberry, raspberry, you know, whatever you like. Sugar, 5 tablespoons of sugar. And that's it. You pulse it. You pulse it. We're going to see if it has to be very smooth. It's got to be très bien mélangé.
Ah, c'est bien, hein, c'est
Ça va?
onctueux, oui, oui.
Maintenant, ça, on va le mettre dans le freezer.
Dans le freezer.
congélateur.
D'accord.
This, we're going to put in the freezer, and we're going to freeze it for about 1 hour. Okay, Paul, this has been frozen for 1 hour. And now we're going to put it together ensemble. Hein?
Oui.
Toi, tu mets la sauce.
Oh, elle est belle.
Et moi, je vais mettre anything. Then I'm going to put this here, right here. Okay? I'll put one here. It's very important to wet it a little bit, you know, and you bang it against a towel. And you kind of shape it. You don't want to. You could make it as big as you want, you know. But we don't want to. This is one portion. Again, the same thing. Kind of shape it like this. You round it up, and we put it right here. And then we're gonna put the strawberry that I cut in half. Put on the side. Okay. Okay. And then we put another one. And Paul's gonna put a sprig of fresh meat right in the center. And he's going to cover the strawberry with the sauce. C'est une grande idée ce que tu as là.
C'est bien, hein, parce que c'est très
Voilà.
beau. Hein. Voilà.
C'est très bien, on
Voilà.
va le nettoyer un peu là, comme
Oui.
ça. Et voilà, un dessert. This is a dessert, it's a low calorie, it's no fat, but if you only use cream, let me tell you, it's not bad here.
Pierre and Paul roared off to l'Abbaye, Paul's nearby banquet hall, where he has lovingly recreated his grandmother's 1920s vintage kitchen, right down to the last spoon. It was time for toasts. The first salute, appropriately enough, was to grandmother, who had taught him so much about good cooking. The second toast took place before a mammoth turn-of-the-century music machine that Paul had rescued. Bravo to America and the Americans. Finally, they were ready to toast each other. With well more than 100 years of experience behind the stove, both had long, successful careers to celebrate. The two chefs had elevated French cuisine to new heights. Pierre in America, Paul in his homeland.
À la santé à tous, et merci à tout le monde.
Et vive l'Amérique et vive la cuisine.
Vive la France et vive les Lyonnais. Et merci de votre accueil, formidable, maison magnifique. À vous, mesdames, papa.
All the recipes from today's show and the entire series are contained in the companion cookbook Pierre Franey Cooks with His Friends, published by Artisan. To order, call the number on your screen, 1-800-235-3000. The 224-page book contains more than 100 color photographs of the chefs, restaurants, food, and places Pierre visits in the series, as well as over 100 recipes. The price is $30 plus shipping and handling. Please have your credit card ready when you call 1-800-235-3000. Pierre Franey's Cooking in Europe was made possible by the Grand Marnier Foundation and Michel Roux Chairman. The Grand Marnier Foundation is proud to honor the legacy of Pierre Franey.